Hello and welcome to episode 141 of the DC Crossover. I am Ben Simpson. That is Mike Cerrone. Glad to have you with us for yet another installment of the program. We are heading into almost the NFL offseason, Mike, one of the dark periods in the sports calendar as the Super Bowl steadily approaches. I'm excited for that, excited to snack a bit. I will report now here at the end of January. I'm down 9.5 pounds here for the month of January. So
Wow.
pretty on pace. I wanted to be around 10. But the Sunday I went a little crazy with the drinking and eating. But we'll see. We'll see where I'm at tomorrow. So I don't think I will be picking out too much for Super Bowl Sunday. I might have to find, on TikTok and on Instagram, there's always those like weird healthy alternatives where it's like buffalo chicken dip, but it's healthy sort of thing. I don't know. I may find one of those. I don't love it that much, but we'll see. By the way, check out all of our social media channels at the DC Crossover on Twitter and at Cerrone16, as well as the TikTok DC Crossover podcast. There is a great spot. But yeah, I know you were watching obviously some big games this weekend on Sunday. I assume you as you tend to do. I mean, you're the local barman in this town. Like you have checked out like every establishment in the area. I know you've been trying at Chicken Sandy's at a lot of different places and trying to feel out who's got the best chicken sandwich in the bar world. How was this weekend's trip?
So the chicken sandwich game, I'm telling you right now, I think I would have to say still my favorite is Ned's.
Okay.
Because Ned's, they give you that like, I forgot. I haven't had it in a while, so I'm trying to figure out what aioli it is. It's cilantro or something aioli on that thing, and they slather that thing with the big old hot sauce and all that stuff, and it's a big old breast. I love breasts.
There you go.
So, but overall, I think that the carpool one I had recently was actually pretty damn good as well. Now, I wouldn't say that it was on the level of Ned's, but I would say that for sure it is up there because their sauce was pretty damn good and the breast was nice and plump. So overall, I think their bread game could have done a little bit better. But I wanted to touch base with you about this weird experience. So obviously last week, and as people out there know, I work for Fairfax County Public Schools. But the biggest thing is, so the quarter ended. And obviously your wife works for Fairfax County as well. But I don't think she was off in the same way we were.
Nope.
But the quarter ended, so obviously, we had to have a day or two of professional development. And like they squeezed that together, so we had to go do trainings and stuff like that. But then also, what they
now you're back. You disappeared for a second.
See, and that's the thing. You disappeared for a second, but I kept going because I knew it was going to pop back.
Yeah.
All right, we're back.
I think we're good. We'll continue. So we're talking about.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so
technical
this was
snafu there.
This was the 4-day
Yeah.
weekend situation.
So during, obviously, the longer weekend, because like I said, they like to slam in the professional developments and all that stuff that we're required to do. So we had professional development, but it was virtual for both of us on Thursday. So Wednesday, we were like, hey, I had to go drop off my car somewhere in like the Dulles area. And we're like, hey, let's try something in Ashburn because typically we don't go to Ashburn when we're living in Herndon area, Reston area.
They call it cash burn out there. Everything's expensive.
So Jess looks at this, sees this place, and I'm going to say the name. Screw it. I'm not going to be a sponsor ever. I mean, it's a one establishment. It's called the Neighbors or the Neighborhood or something like that.
The Neighbors.
And, yeah. It's like a sports bar or whatever, and it's out there, kind of near. It's probably in the middle of whatever you consider Stonebridge and like Briar Woods like area, like those two high schools, kind of like the middle there. But it's Ashburn, so it's just out there.
Neighbors Sports Bar.
There you go.
Grill.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for looking it up. I forgot it was the Neighborhood or Neighbors or whatever. And we get there, and right as we walk in, they're blasting like Metallica or something like that. We're like, "Whoa, what's going on in here?" So we didn't go there for a game or anything like that. We just wanted to try something new. Oh, here we go. We're looking at it.
Here's a 2-star review. Overall, not good. Burgers inedible. Cuban made wrong. $4 for a Coke, then overcharged for refills. Pulled pork sandwich was bleh. On the upside, cheese curds were great. Good beer selection.
On the upside.
You got some 5 stars there. Here's 1 star.
It was a 1 star.
Early dinner. Ordered the salad and cheese curds. Apparently, cheese curds is a move there. Service was not welcoming and subpar at best. Took nearly an hour for
Wow.
2 salads. Not good. Not good, Mike.
Hour for 2 salads. First
Yeah,
of all,
I don't know how that could.
It doesn't make any sense. Did you order the salad, or did you just think about ordering the salad?
Ooh, I'm seeing some other. I'm seeing some other 2 stars here. We got 1 star 4 months ago. And look, we're not trying to kill this place, but I mean, I'm just saying. Like,
That's what we should do.
This
We
does
should just
not
go
look
through
good. Here's
places.
another 1 star. But yeah, let's hear about your experience here.
So they're blasting Metallica. It's a Wednesday night, okay? And typically these establishments have, every single night they have something going on or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
right?
$2 pint Tuesdays or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Trivia nights and bingo nights and all that kind of stuff. So this night was apparently bingo night. And it was like, I don't know if it was classic rock bingo or whatever they considered it, because when we got there, it wasn't, it started already. Because the guy was there. Apparently it started at 6. And first of all, I was like, whoa, like this guy's there early. I mean,
Right.
doing bingo at 6 is really early. So at
Bingo.
this point, it's like 7:15ish or so. And then all of a sudden, we get there, and like I said, they're blasting Metallica. There's a couple, a little older couple over here on this side of the bar. And don't get me wrong, it's a nice little establishment, okay? Because it was I guess purchased right after that location, right after COVID, because it says established in 2022.
Yeah.
So it has to be recent for the most part. But you're looking at it and saying that this group over here, I could tell that those people were like the neighbors, and I'm not saying like
The neighbors of the neighbors.
exactly, because they were like four couples, and they had all their glasses on. They're sitting at a table, just like playing bingo and stuff like that. And then right as bingo ended, they got right the hell out of there. Not to mention that, so I it was people watching, because there was no games on or anything. That
Yeah,
was
that's all
interesting.
you. That's all you could do. Yeah.
So we were people watching, and then so I classified them as the neighbors of the neighbors. And then you had these 2 couples over here that, one of them was just kind of weird. Anyways. And then you had these 2 moms over there with like 7 kids, and they were running around the whole entire establishment
Hate that.
for at least 20 minutes. And like
Hate
this one older guy is like, these damn kids, it's like, come on now, like you're running around the entire like restaurant. It's like, what are you doing? Like you're sitting there drinking like your mojito or something like that, while little Tommy is sprinting through the bar stools. It's like, what are you doing?
It's the worst. It's look, and even I say this as a parent. It's like when my kid's old enough to be like running around like crazy like that, you're not taking them to that type of establishment. You're gonna go, if you are gonna go out to eat, you're gonna take them to the place where every family is going, like Red Robin or like those types of places where it's like everyone brings families there, so it's okay if it's that chaotic. A bar, like a sports bar or bar, it's like taking your kid there. It's like, first of all, there's
Right,
nothing for them to do or enjoy, and then you're also just pissing everybody else off. So there's just, I hate
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is by the end of the night, the guy that was running bingo, apparently these kids just kept coming up to him and handing him like drawings on napkins.
I thought you were going to say like handing him cash. And then I was like, well, you might be okay with that.
So he literally had, because I looked over and it looked like a tumbleweed size.
And he didn't know these people?
No. It
Okay.
was literally, I would say, I like how I referenced tumbleweed as a size. It was more like a beach ball of just napkins that he had to go throw in the trash. And I was like, I'm sure this establishment that's only been less than a year old is really happy that these kids were drawing on napkins, and they used like 4 wads of napkins.
Ugh.
It's like, it was terrible. So the one thing I wanted to get to, though, about this establishment is sometimes when you have these type of events, it draws in a particular crowd. And
Sure.
I always think that a party foul at a bar is singing over top the music. I know for a fact that,
Yeah.
sometimes I like to sing because I know a lot of songs, stuff like that. But I sing like kind of like, not under my breath, but sing to the tune of no one really can hear me except myself or someone maybe right next to me. And this guy looked like he was in a band that was like starring in the School Rock movie like 30 years ago. His hair was
boy.
like receding. It looked like it was falling out. He had these beady eye glasses on, and he's belting out.
So he's just a patron of this establishment. Like,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
just there.
Oh yeah, and there
Okay.
was a guy with him that had a beard down to his like nipples, and then another person. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if it was a girl or a guy. Couldn't really
Sure.
tell. And they were sitting there, and this guy is belting out notes like he's. I was gonna cuss there. Like he's Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath out
Nice.
loud, like going nuts. I tried to record it for you, but I couldn't really get a
Yeah.
good recording because I mean the music was so damn loud. But this guy is literally, no joke. I mean, he's Axl Rose or what's the guy for Motley Crue? Vince Neil. Like he's like going at it, and I'm like, dude,
David Lee Roth. Yeah.
yeah,
no, he's killing it. He's killing
He was going nuts. I'm like, dude. I looked
It's
at
a
Jen,
little
I said-
much.
I said, what is this guy doing? Like, okay,
So
you're
this
sitting
was
there-
let me just clarify. So this was not like a karaoke situation where he has a
No.
microphone or anything like that.
No.
Because it seems like I read on their thing like they do have karaoke nights on like Fridays,
Yeah.
but this was just a Thursday. The music's just blasting because it's blasting, and this guy
Yep.
is just belting one out.
Yeah, I mean, literally, the guy sat there and ended up basically saying, "Oh, like I don't even." I'm trying to figure out a song. He was like, "Back in Black." Like it's like
Nice.
I was like, "Dude, what are you doing, man?" Like I was like, "What are you doing? Like you got to stop this," because it was just getting so. Ugh.
So do you think he? So was this better or worse than the guy from Ned's? I think that was. Like,
Oh, the Herndon
Maniac.
Laugher. The
Yeah,
Herndon
the Herndon
Laugher.
Laugher. Would you prefer? So that's the big question here, and you guys can answer as well on social media. When you're at the bar, do you prefer the crazy loud laugher
Yeah.
or the loud singer that's just not karaoke but just singing along to the songs being played in the bar? Pick your poison. Which one would you prefer to be in the presence of?
I mean, honestly, this guy, it was just annoying at some point because the laugh is just like, is this real? Like, is this guy
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
real?
It's
but
hilarious.
the guy singing just was so. He thought that he was like the coolest guy on the planet because, like I
Well,
said,
he was.
he literally looked like he was in some garage band from the 90s who was way past the era of metal and all that kind of stuff and just was trying to relive his glory days because, like I said, he looked kind of, I mean, he was crusty. All right, he was very, very crusty. And I mean,
Sure.
and he ended up trying to flirt with the bartender, and
Oh, I
like
hate that.
he was trying to hold her hand. Or it
Oh,
was
That-
weird, man.
To me, the guy at the bar that's like by himself or he's with a small group and he's older and he's like just nubs, like he's just not a good looking guy, but yet he has the confidence to like flirt with these girls that
Yeah.
are probably like 15 years younger and have zero interest in him. Those are the guys at the bar that annoy the heck out of me. Like those are the guys where I'm like, oh God, this is so cringe. Like, please stop. Please
Yeah.
stop flirting with her. She has no interest in you. She never will. There's, I mean, it's been a while, obviously, since I became a dad that I've been out in the bar scene, but I recall some of these characters, but I'll tell you, I don't think I've encountered the singer like you did. So you've got the Herndon Laugher, you got the Ashburn singer. We'll kind of see what you encounter next, I think.
I'm sure.
Because that is insane. Let's hit up the rewind machine. We got a lot to get to tonight. We will start with the Washington Nationals as I'll play some highlights here from Alex Colomé, who they signed this past week. They signed him to a minor league deal. As you can see, some of his highlights last year with Colorado. 34-year-old righty reliever, 10 years in the bigs. Last year, kind of a down year, 5.74 ERA in about 47 innings. And then his last best season was about 2019, so 4 years ago with the White Sox, where he posted a 2.80 ERA in 54 innings. He also had a great ERA in the pandemic-shortened season. So this is another one of those signings. It's a minor league deal. You kind of see if he wins the job out of camp, because the Nats actually do have somewhat of a steady bullpen arms. They've got a lot of guys like Kyle Finnegan and guys that have been around a bit.
Right.
So you sign this guy, you see how he looks in spring training. If he does a good enough job, you bring him up to the big club, and then to out of the gate, out of spring training, and then from there, if he does anything similar to what he did in 2019, we do, as we've talked about on the show multiple times, you flip him. That's kind of the move here at this point. So Colome, 34-year-old receiver, signed by the Nationals. Let's move over to the Caps, who played 3 games this past week.
So the Caps, not a great week for them as a whole, but still 26-20-6 to fourth in the Metro Division. Lost to the Avs 3-2 on Tuesday. Sheary and Ovi with goals. Kemper allows 3 goals and 26 shots. So, excuse me, his output not the best that you would like to see, but overall he ended up coming back on Thursday and beating the Pens in a huge game in a shootout. Came up with a couple good saves in the shootout as well. Ovi and Johansson scored in regulation. Backstrom scored the deciding goal in the shootout. But overall, they were down 1-0 after one shot so far in the shootout. So that was good to come out and get 2 points to gain another point on the Pens. But then they lost to Toronto on Sunday in an ugly one, 5-1. The Leafs scored 4 of their 5 goals in the second period. Samsonov for the Leafs had 23 saves, so that's good to talk about. Kemper allowed 4 goals and 20 shots. Lindgren 1 goal on 7 shots. So once again, one of those typical type of, I guess you could say, Caps games that you can just like say, all right, we're just going to throw this one away, not really worry about it too much overall. But moving on to the team that for some reason just likes to win and lose every single other game. It's irritating. The Wizards.
Yeah, the Washington Wizards had a strong week this week. 3 wins in last week, starting it off with Dallas on Tuesday. As you can see some of the highlights from that one. 127-126, the win there. Kyle Kuzma, 30 points, and he made the game-winning free throw with 4.2 seconds left. Luka, big game from him, 41 points and 15 boards. Wizards swept the 2-game series with Dallas for the second consecutive season, which prior to that they hadn't done for like 14 or 15 seasons. So kind of a crazy stat there, as we will move to the Rockets game on Wednesday, 108-103. The Wizards get the win there. Kyle Kuzma, 33 points on the game. He's been really solid. 20 of those 33 were all in the fourth quarter. Wizards actually trailed by as much as 19 points and were trailed by 10 entering the fourth, and they beat the Rockets. And then Saturday's game against the Hornets, 113-103 win. Gafford ties his season high with 21. This makes 5 straight wins for the Wiz Kids as KP misses his 3rd straight game. And so the Wizards are now 9th place in the Eastern Conference. That you trade Rui, you kind of wonder what the team's going to look like from that, and at least for now, I mean it hasn't been too bad as you look at the standings here. So the Wizards currently sit right under the Hawks and right above the Bulls, tied with a record for the Bulls, but I think we have the head-to-head. So it's 9th place here. You still would have to climb quite a bit. I mean, the Knicks have 4 more wins. The Heat have 5 more. So getting into the top 5 does not seem possible, but it does seem like there could be some shuffling here at the 7, 8, 9 spot is still possible for the Wiz Kids. Especially the big thing with them is, and it's talked about on this show and in Wizards land, is they just haven't been healthy. Like, you haven't had the combination of Beal, Kuzma, and KP all healthy at the same time much at all. And while I'm still a proponent of I'd rather not finish in 9th place. I'd rather just tank and try to go lower. We still have some games left to be played. You've got like 30 or so games left to be played. Maybe those guys are all healthy at the same time, you put together a good run, you win 9 of 10, you win 11 of 13, that sort of streak, and maybe you get into the top 6. I don't know. I don't know if that's even worth doing, because the Celtics are a better team, the Sixers are definitely a better team, the Bucks are a better team. The Nets are always up and down. The Cavs are usually up and down, but the Cavs are having a good season. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth being good this year, honestly.
Right. I mean, honestly, don't get me wrong. I love seeing the Wizards or the Caps. I mean, the Caps is a typical one, but the Wizards go into the playoffs because it's fun to watch your team in the playoffs. I mean, even if you know it's going to be a struggle for them to move on, it's fun to watch the team go out there and get some publicity. But at the same time, would you rather get, again, like we always say, a top 6 pick or a top 5 pick for the most part, or make the playoffs and not make it to the second round, or go to the playoffs and lose almost immediately? I just think that you need to honestly look at this team, and honestly, I think now that we've won 3 straight at least, I think the Kuzma thing is done. I think there is zero chance they trade him. I think there is zero chance unless they just get blown out in like the next 3 or 4 games. I just think that you're looking at it and saying he's staying no matter what, and they're going to try to sign him, which is not going to be the ideal situation for us. But that's just how it is, and I think that honestly, yes, Tommy Shepard has gotten a bunch of S for basically making moves and trying to do different things, but I think now, he's trying to say, I got some pieces. Let me just hope that they're going to stay healthy and maybe we'll ascend to be a top 6 team. I don't think that's going to happen. I just think that you're looking at how the horseshoe is really with us when it comes to having KP be healthy, because he's typically not healthy. Beal has been very, very unhealthy this season, missing games every single week, it feels like.
Yep.
And Kuzma, looking at it, that you have his mental stability. Do you think that this guy is going to come out and say, I hate this team, I hate this front office, I hate this, I hate that? I just think that the dominoes are starting to not really align for, we got a nice team brewing. Because when you're looking at it, I just think that it only takes one of them, like a Kuzma, to come out and start saying something and be like a cancer in the locker room, to all of a sudden now, the team isn't happy. So then KP's not going to be happy on the floor with them, or Beal's not going to be happy on the floor. It just kind of goes on and on, which I think that honestly it would be fun to watch them in the playoffs. But at this point, I'm just not invested. I'm just not invested. I'll watch the games, don't get me wrong, but I'm just not invested.
Yeah, it's hard to connect with this team in the same way we did the teams past. I mean, one of the most connections I had with the Wizards prior to or post the Gill years and stuff were the Wall, Beal, Porter, those Gortat, those teams I feel like I had the most connection with. Obviously, they were good teams. They were making it to Eastern Conference Finals and such. That helps. But also, it's just I feel like there was so many good characters to root for, Kelly Oubre and all these guys on those squads, compared to now where it's there's not a ton of guys where I'm super hyped to watch night in and night out. There's good players, obviously, but there's not the guys that you have the same connection with as maybe you did in years past. I mean, Denny has been good. People are immediately pointing to Rui and being like, all right, now that Rui's gone, Denny's thriving. It's all right, I mean, it's small sample size. Let's give it a little more time. It's Denny thrives in movement and running up and down, and not just being a guy you stick in the corner and hope for a corner 3. He definitely needs a ball in his hands. He needs to be moving around. So maybe the floor has opened up a little bit with Rui gone. I don't know. They weren't even really playing the same position, honestly. So we'll see. I don't. We don't have to spend too much time on this because we got some more stuff to get to. But we will, of course. Now, once football season ends, it's going to be a lot of basketball talk, people. So get ready for that. Let's move into some football talk here, as it was obviously a big weekend in the sport of football. We'll start with this Eagles game, Mike, which I know of the 2 games, of course, this was the dud, and the other game was more the stud. As you check out some of the highlights. By the way, we do put up the show on YouTube, so if you want to see highlights of the games and stuff we're talking about and all that stuff, follow the show on YouTube. But the Eagles. And I definitely want to get your thoughts on this. The Eagles, in my opinion, obviously you don't luck into the record they had this year. I mean, they did win some big games. But if we're talking about your easiest path to the Super Bowl, you're playing against a team with a quarterback whose arm, and they came out today, he tore his UCL apparently, and I mean, there was just no way the 49ers were going to win this game once some of these guys got banged up. So talking about an easy path, I'm 31-7 win there. This game was really never in doubt for the most part, and the Eagles kind of luck into a Super Bowl championship. And I know the Eagles fans aren't going to be happy I said that, but I mean, can you get easier than this?
Right. I mean, you're looking at certain situations like the NCAA tournament, and you're also looking at Super Bowl runs and just different things of that nature where, people sit there and say, well, you play who's in front of you, which is true.
Fair.
That's fair. Sure. But the thing about it is just exactly.
Doesn't mean we can't criticize it.
Exactly. Just like you said, they played a Giants team that they killed during the season because they match up really well against them because they are one of the best run stuffing teams for the most part, one of the best defenses as a whole in the NFL, and the Giants are a run heavy team. They don't have really anybody on the outside that can match up with Darius Slay and so on and so forth. So you're looking at it and saying that was an easy game. Okay, I thought the Giants might keep it close just because it's a division game, but obviously that didn't happen. But my main concern was that when you're looking at this game, I thought the Niners defense, and you could see it in my picks, obviously I got it wrong, that I thought the Niners defense was going to be able to hold the Eagles, which they did for a ton of the game. You look at the score, and the score is lopsided. Why? Because the sole fact that the Niners couldn't do anything with the ball, mainly for the sole fact that they had a guy that was picked very last in the draft who had some minor success in the league so far, mainly because of the defense and some of the weapons that he has. Okay, that's great. He gets hurt. You bring in Josh Johnson. I saw something yesterday on Twitter that Josh Johnson has been on, I think
like 15 teams or something.
In 14 years. And that includes teams in different, I guess you could say, leagues. I mean, he was in the XFL. He was in the CFL. I mean, this guy has been all over the place. Anyone that will say, "Hey, can you come be a backup or a starter for us in our league?" He just signs with them, no matter what. Apparently, he was with the Niners like 3 different times over the last 14 years. He was with the then Redskins and all that kind of stuff. So he's been with so many damn teams to the point where it's like, all right, this guy is just going to be out there and not really do much. Yes, they tied it up 7-7. That was great. But the problem is that once he got hurt, they sat there, and as you see on our screen right now, the Bucks, Niners, Mountain Lions, Browns, Bengals, Niners again, Bengals again, Jets, Colts, Bills, Ravens, Giants, Texans, Raiders, Redskins, San Diego Fleet, wherever the hell that is. Obviously San Diego, but whoever.
Is that like XFL maybe or something?
No, it's not XFL. It's 19.
Arena?
And the XFL, it might have been the arena, yeah. And then you got the LA Wildcats. It's just like all these teams all over the place. So you're saying like once he got hurt, and they had to bring in a guy that was already ruled out of the game. Now, specifically, okay, I didn't hear this because I was actually driving home at that point. So Jess said to me that, oh yeah, they said they're going to put in McCaffrey. Why didn't they put in McCaffrey? I don't get it.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. I mean, they were even saying on the broadcast, they were like, run the Wildcat with McCaffrey, do something to change it up a bit because, you don't have a reliable arm there at quarterback, and you can't just hand the ball off every single play. So why not do some Wildcat, do some Stonebridge old school little single wing or whatever.
Wing tee, stuff like
wing
that.
Wing tees, all that stuff. It's like you got to have a backup plan. I mean, you're going into the game already with like your third quarterback this season. If you're the Niners, it's
fourth. That was their fourth.
You're right.
Trey Lance, Garoppolo. Yeah, it's like it's nuts.
Yeah, so it's like you got to think like we got to have a backup plan for this.
Well, that was the best part though, man, is that when you literally saw McCaffrey go out there. I mean, Purdy came back in the game. McCaffrey was just getting beat to hell because of the whole fact that they had 10 plays, 9 were running, and they were down by 3 scores because the guy couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah.
Like you saw, like you said earlier, the guy tore his UCL, wherever the hell that is, in the elbow, and he couldn't throw the ball. He threw one pass, and it was like 4 yards, and I'm sure he went over to Shanahan and said, my arm hurts like hell. I can't throw the ball. And then they kept him in for some reason. And then all of a sudden, McCaffrey goes in the Wildcat. They do this double, triple, quadruple axle reverse thing, and then he tries to throw it, and he throws it to literally there was more specks of grass right there
Yeah,
than
I
literally
remember that play
the
you're
people
talking
on the
about.
planet. I mean, it was unbelievable. He threw it, and no
The
one was
camera
even
didn't
close.
even know where to go. The camera was like, because these camera guys, they anticipate the passes and things
Yeah,
like that. Even
right.
the camera guy was like, I have no idea where he's throwing this football.
Yeah, he's like zooming out. He's like, I lost the ball. He threw it somewhere. I don't even know
Yeah,
where.
they probably
it's
won't
at.
show it in the highlights, unfortunately, because
Yeah.
that would be a great thing to see again. Because it was literally, I remember the exact play you're talking about. All this fancy stuff in the backfield, and then he just launches up a turd, and then it just falls to the ground.
Yeah, it's like a duck just falling out of the
Yeah,
air.
it was terrible.
So I just didn't understand because you were still technically in the game. Now I understand that you were down, by 2 scores, 21-7 at one point, stuff like that, and then all of a sudden it kind of ballooned a little bit. But when you know that you're not going to be able to throw the ball and you're just going to run the entire time, I mean, they ran it 9 out of 10 times, being down by so many scores in the fourth quarter. So they literally just stacked the box with 8 guys just in case there was a trick play or something, like Deebo Samuel will throw it or something. And all of a sudden, they literally just sat there and they were like, well, what are we supposed to do? And I just think that, honestly, Shanahan was like, you know what? I'm just not going to go out there and embarrass ourselves. I think that was one of the biggest things, that he didn't want to go out there and have McCaffrey in the NFC Championship game throwing passes to Deebo Samuel 20 yards down the field and all of a sudden be down 52 to nothing. Because I don't know. I just think that actually was running through his mind. But obviously saw like Josh Johnson. He couldn't even feel the shotgun snap, and that's why the Eagles ended up scoring the second time. So I just think, like I said, I think the Eagles, they have an easier road, obviously. I think the Niners had a chance if Purdy was healthy. But to me, you look at it and just say, once he went out, the game was pretty much over for the most part, because honestly, it just went to a certain situation that the Niners just couldn't hang on. And yes, okay, the Eagles get the credit they deserve, but it wasn't like they stunned the world and they went out there and lit the world on fire, because you look at it and say, okay, Devontae Smith didn't catch that ball, which I think is hilarious because all the Eagle fans right now are like sharing this catch out with Devontae, and they're like, Eagles are flying high. Like it was an incomplete pass. Like what do you talk? Anyways, so Devontae Smith doesn't catch that. They kick a field goal, so that's 4 points right there. Not to mention, if Josh Johnson's on the game, I mean, let's be honest here, Purdy probably handles that snap and they don't fumble it, so that's another 7 points right there. So it's like, you look at it right there, that's 21-7. So you think that they could have easily got back because of the sole fact that when your offense isn't doing anything, I mean, your offense can't do anything, and the defense is just getting wore out. And it's just sad, because I thought that game was going to be a lot better than it was, and honestly, they just kind of got screwed out of something like that with some bad luck.
Right, and I think one of the things that it comes back to is, you see the one-handed Smith catch that was not. One of the things that and I don't think it's just being a DC sports fan, but I think other fan bases feel this way as well. But Philly fans in particular, and they're proud of this, are some of the most annoying fans in the game. I mean, we see it here at Nats Park with Philly fans. Especially pre-World Series, it was like anytime the Phillies were in town, the stadium was going to be 3/4 Philly fans, and if you were going to try to go to the game, you were just going to have to deal with them being obnoxious and being drunk and yelling at you at your own stadium. And it's like, it was always like, this is just a bad experience every time the Philly fans are in town, because like it's just not going to be fun. It's just going to be you dealing with them being obnoxious all game long. And then even post World Series, you still see it too. Well, now especially that the Phillies are good again, you've got the Philly fans are out of the woodwork there. Eagles fans have always been extremely annoying. EAGLES, shouting that all the time, and it's like, all right, yes, you've had some really solid teams over the years, the McNabb years and things like that. It's like there's been some likable guys in Philly, but obviously being Washington fans and being in the same division, that's been annoying. So I feel like there's just a certain level of and I definitely want to get your thoughts on this too, but it feels like there's a certain level of entitlement, like sports entitlement, not quite like the level of like New York fans, but Philly fans are more like just kind of douchebags, I guess. Like, like they're more obnoxious about it. Like New York fans are so
right.
like, smarmy and like we're
Snarky,
better than everybody
basically,
else.
yeah.
Philly fans aren't necessarily saying they're better than everyone else, but they're just going to be just more obnoxious than everybody else. Like they're going to
Right.
make your time. They're going to make you miserable if you're at the game near them. Like that's their goal.
Yeah, and the thing is about fans in Philadelphia, they embrace it. It's like
They love it.
Do you
talk to a
underst-
Philly fan and you're like, man, I hate Philly fans. They go, yeah, I know we suck. But they love it. They love being the
we're the worst, but we love our teams like more than anybody else. We're the worst, but we're the best. Like
yeah.
no, there is no worst and best. You can't bake a cake and say, well, this is the best cake, but it's also the worst cake too. Like you can't say something like that. It just makes no sense. So I was thinking about it today, and I heard last night because I didn't see it on the news or anything like that, but apparently Eagle fans were throwing eggs, which is hilarious because eggs cost like $1 million right now. You're wasting eggs trying to chuck them at Niner fans walking into the stadium. That's just ridiculous. So my vitriol towards Philly fans is just that they're so like cocky even when their teams are not great, because they say that, oh, we're the best sports town. Okay, sweet. You can have situations out there where all of a sudden, great. You have a great atmosphere or something like that. But we've seen situations time and time again where these fans out in Philly just like to berate you, and you like we're seeing on the screen right now. This guy's flicking people off and they're screaming
this
at
is
people's
literally
faces.
just somebody like walking to the stadium. Like,
Really?
just Vikings fans that are literally just trying to walk into the stadium. And on the video, you've got Philly fans that are screaming at them, flicking them off, yelling at them, booing at them. And the Vikings fans, and look, we're just getting one side of the video, but it doesn't seem to be like these Viking fans are really doing anything. They're just literally
Right.
just walking to the stadium. And these Philly fans are all just going nuts, and they're like, I'm sure, challenging them to fights and all this sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, this is part of why I sometimes just hate going. I don't really want to go to NFL games because I just see behavior like this, especially not in Philly. I'm not going to go to a Philly game, that's for sure.
See, for me, I've been to 1 million Cowboys-Redskins games in my time, okay? And yes, there is bickering back and forth. There's trash talk left and right, but it doesn't end up being I'll use this reference for Philly, a Rocky Balboa, Apollo Creed fight. I mean, we're all there to enjoy the entertainment of sport. We're in there to root on our teams. We're not there just to sit there and flip the freaking big birds right in people's faces while they're just walking into the damn stadium to watch the game.
Right,
That's the crazy thing. Here's a small list that I made up that I'll run through very, very quickly about why Philly fans and Phillies fans and Eagles fans and Flyer fans, they all suck. They all are terrible. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you want to at me or if you want to comment or whatever, I'm not saying that every single Philly fan is bad. Okay, it's the small pocket of say 20% of your fans that just like to make your city look like trash, okay? Because I know some people that are from Philly and different things of that nature that are really good people and they're really good fans and they love their teams. But the problem is you're looking at the ones in this list that have some issues at home. I don't know what it is. In 1983, they assaulted Chief Z, the Redskins' old mascot. I guess you could say you call him a mascot, in Philly twice. During the game and after the game, it's ended up being, I think, the group of the same people, and it resulted in Chief Z breaking his leg, okay? He broke his leg because they assaulted him twice. Insane. 2010, fans were being escorted out of the stadium, intentionally stuck fingers in their throat, and threw up all over an 11-year-old girl. Intentionally. Like, what? I mean, that's insane. 2015-2016 NFL season, two fans decided to burn Deshaun Jackson's jersey after he had no control over being cut by the team during Chip Kelly's run. The guy played 6 seasons for you, made 3 Pro Bowls and All-Pro twice, and you start to burn his jersey. Like, are you serious? Another one, 2016 Phillies game. 37 years old, Ryan Howard. Okay, Ryan Howard was literally Ryan Howard.
Sorry.
You're good. Ryan Howard was literally 37 years old. End of his career. It's the last year of his career. He ended up played 13 years all in Philly, 3-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year, MVP.
Yeah,
in
this was a
06.
guy who was like emblematic of. He was a symbol for Philly baseball.
Right.
For sure.
His last season. He goes out there, and all of a sudden he grounds out in the end of a game, and the guy throws a beer bottle at him while he's walking back to the dugout.
Just insane.
I mean, that's insane. That's like me going to school and going to work, and all of a sudden some parent just comes with a baseball bat and just chucks it at me while I'm walking into the building. Like, it makes no sense. The worst one I see is 2016. The Flyers owner, CEO, and founder Ed Snyder passes away from a 2-year battle with cancer. Okay, did a lot for the team, founded the team for the Flyers in Philly. The fans were given wristbands that lit up, and they lit them all up at the beginning of the game in the dark, just trying to honor this guy. And meanwhile, it was the Washington Capitals there, 6-1 in the late game. Okay, or later in the game, I should say, 6-1 they were up, and all of a sudden, they start chucking the wristbands on the ice for a dead guy. The guy's dead. And they throw the wristbands. It was a ton of them too. They had to get those stupid little ice shovel things that they scoop up all the ice after they do the Zamboni or crap. They had to go get the little ice things to scoop up all, and they literally delayed the game. They gave the Flyers a penalty for delay a game because the fans were acting like morons, throwing wristbands on the ice. It was unfreaking believable that they did that. And I watched that game live. Literally, the game was delayed by at least 15, 20 minutes on TV. They were just like,
you can see on the screen right now. Yeah, all the people coming out to sweeping up. The PA announcer saying like, "Don't throw them on the ice. Like, please, come on, don't do that."
Well, he was saying, "Show some class. This is Philly," and I'm like, "This is ridiculous." Not to mention Wayne Simmons. Okay, Wayne Simmons was a really good player for the Flyers. He sat there and was like, "Guys, stop this." Like, okay, it's just a game. First of all, the series wasn't over. It was the third game in the series. Caps were whipping their butt, so it didn't really matter. But you're looking at it and saying the fans were throwing literally the wristbands at Caps players too on the bench. Dmitry Orlov got pelted right in the neck with one of these damn wristbands that lit up. It was just insanity. And last one, 1999, J.D. Drew was drafted by the Phillies, refused to play for him, which I'm not surprised. Then he came to the stadium the next time with the opposing team, and they threw batteries at him. It's unbelievable. And I saw a quote today also that Doug Peterson, when he was hired by Philly, he played for Philly. But when he was playing for Philly, they ended up throwing, he said, the D type of batteries. So D batteries at him. And he said he was spit on. He was like, it's like, what is wrong with this city, man?
It's
like,
just insane.
I just don't get it. It's unbelievable.
And it's part of the identity now at this point is like, you know, we're Philly scumbags. Like, that's who we are. We embrace that. And it's just, at this point, it's kind of like, nah, it's not funny. It's really not. It's just kind of obnoxious and it's annoying and it's like, it's just pointless. And again, like you said, we're not painting with we're trying not to paint with too broad of a brush. Like, obviously not all Philly fans are like that, but a lot of them are. I'd say the majority of them are.
That's why I said 20% is a heavy percentage. I mean, you have you look at certain, situations where you have rivalries and you have different things like that. Like, I don't see certain cities around. I don't even know another city. Like, you can't consider New York because, like you said, they're like snarky and they think they're better than everybody else, and they're snippy, but they're not sitting there like literally just flipping you the bird and telling you to go F yourself and jump off a building. Like, these guys literally are telling you to go kill yourself because you're showing up in a Chicago Bears jersey. A team that doesn't even care.
Well, like, I think of it as which stadium would I be most uncomfortable wearing my team's jersey in, and I'd say Philly has got to be towards the top of the list. Like, I think it, if not the top. I mean, I know like things get crazy in California with some of those teams. I mean, you hear a lot of fights in the parking lot, people like dying in the parking lot and getting beat up. But some of that is I don't think is as frequent as what you see in some of the videos and TikToks and things like that with what happens in Philly with those games.
Unreal.
So I think that would be my most uncomfortable situation if I was there. So I agree with all. I mean, your overlying point as far as I've always hated Philly fans. I mean, I always find them extremely obnoxious. I hate Philly teams for the most part. So screw them. Let's before we do trivia.
I mean, it tastes like a stuffing that you
Let's do a little food review.
Seafood crepe. Yeah. That's seafood crap.
When you take a bite of that cod, it's almost like you've got a breaded condom in your mouth.
It's like it's been left out for days and it's been attacked by cats. Dry and tasteless.
It's dry, it's
Dry?
how dry that is. Bland as anything.
You're just bland.
Bland. There's no seasoning in there. Everything's bland. Bland. It's bland. Pasta's bland.
I don't even think he likes the water.
Little food review time. Mike and I both brought some
Little bit.
snacks to the table here. I know it's been a little while since we've done one of these, so we wanted to bring you our food review here. Do you want to go first or second today?
I'll go second.
Okay, so I will start with this snack, the Lay's Poppables, honey barbecue flavor. So
They look
I
good.
looked it up. So these have been around about 5-6 years. I've never tried one of these before. My guess is most folks haven't. I can't imagine these being super, super popular, but I'm interested to see how this goes. So they're perfectly poppable, crispy potato bites is how they're framed. So my guess is the idea is this is a somewhat healthier alternative to just straight up chips. Calories on this one, 25 or 28 pieces is 150 calories. So not bad.
Wow.
I mean, 28 pieces is quite a lot. We'll see how big they are. I did honey barbecue flavor because I like that flavor, and I figured that was going to be my best bet to actually get a good one here. So I'll take one of these out. So yeah, it's weird. It's like this little
Wow.
like pine cone like waffle type thing here.
Pine cone.
It's not that big. It's got some if my camera focuses. Yeah, it's got
little dust.
some barbecue dust here. Smells pretty good. So definitely has that barbecue flavor. So the interesting thing with this will be how does it taste as far as like in this form? Like with this like
Right.
strange kind of honeycomb form, what does it taste like? So I'm going to pop a couple of these poppables in my mouth.
So my biggest question is, so when you look at, for instance, like a waffle fry, so that kind of makes me think of like a waffle fry kind of deal at Chick-fil-A. If it's not salted enough, even though the waffle fry is great, if it's not salted enough because the salt falls through the squares of the waffle fry, it just doesn't taste great. So the dust on there looked pretty good. Is it the size of a thumb?
A little smaller than a thumb.
Oh, smaller than a thumb. Oh, it's a little smaller than I thought.
Yeah, this is my thumb. It's
Okay.
yeah, here.
I'm saying like the top of your thumb, not like the finger length.
Okay.
All right, hey, you know what? You gotta do the bag test though. The bag test is there he goes. The bag test. You need to work on your bag test technique, man. Every time you do it, like it's coming pop right back out.
Okay. Interesting. So the whole idea here seems to be keeping things lighter, airier. Like it's not a thick chip. Obviously, it's
Right.
so I guess my first question would be, what is the point of it? Kind of like, I don't necessarily, and I don't have the Lay's regular barbecue chip calories in front of me, but I
Yeah.
can't imagine it being that different to make this worth it. Like, if I'm going to eat honey barbecue chips, I'm just going to eat honey barbecue chips. Like, this version of them, this doesn't make them better. Like, this is not, if this was maybe like not like doesn't have the big gap in the middle, and if this was like actually a full snack, like it was filled in the middle and not empty,
Yeah.
that could make it interesting. Like if it had a little bit extra potato barbecue type flavor in the middle and it was almost like filled a bit, but this is literally just air in between these holes here. So I don't really get it, Mike.
Well, see, the biggest thing about these chip companies is that there is an innovative team. The team has to go out there and think of other things to make. And that's the problem, is a lot of it is just like forming it in a different way to the point where it's not really needed. It's just another marketing technique to sell other things and to stock the shelves more with more of their product. And that's the thing. It's like you can't just keep making Lay's chips for the rest of your eternity. You have to come up with something new. And obviously things are swings and misses, and This could be a Ryan Howard, as we refer back to our last topic. A Ryan Howard, 37-year-old season, 136 average.
Like these people are saying, light and crispy. They have you coming back for more because of the different texture, airy, crunchy, flavorful chip. I think what I would like to try is probably try to find a spicy chip
Right.
that they have and see like if they have like a jalapeno chip or I don't know, something more in the spice arena, because then that could be interesting. I could see that being good because with spice you don't want it to necessarily be too big and heavy, and so maybe having that would at least give you a little more kick, because otherwise, I mean, if I was to rate this snack, Mike, I'd probably put it down in like the 2 range. I mean, this is honestly, people keep saying in like the reviews I'm reading, like the seasoning is super flavorful, like it's so light and airy, and it's just like, why? It doesn't really need to be. Like if I'm eating chips, I'm gonna eat chips. I'm not gonna eat these instead to save 2 calories or something like that. It doesn't make sense to me. So no, these are a 2 out of 5 for me. These Lay's poppable honey barbecue. I am interested to see if they have spicy ones. Otherwise, this is a dud.
Dud. All right, so I think I have a stud for my snack. Okay, my snack is, and I've held on to it for like 3 weeks now because I wanted to save it.
Yeah, I'm interested.
The Entenmann's, our man Entenmann, rest in peace.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it on the camera. That's better. The Entenmann's mini brownie chocolate chip cake.
That looks intriguing. That
It
looks
is-
very intriguing.
Very intriguing. So now yours had a little bit of healthiness kind of added towards it. This is not. This is
Right.
this is like on the old school box and
Because I had
whisker
like the
plot.
Hostess. Well, I thought you meant when I tried. Because remember in the drinking show, I had
Yep.
like a cookie brownie combo, but it was a different type. So this is a different thing.
So if you think back in math terms, back when you were in middle school and you figured out box and whisker plots,
Mm-hmm.
because this is literally the whisker on the very right of the unhealthy scale.
Right.
One of these cakes is 220 calories, which
Love
is
it.
not gonna work.
Go
out
ahead and
for-
pound like 5 of those tonight.
Hey, if I was drinking, I probably would be. All right, here we go. So,
All right,
I'm
so it's a
opening-
cookie brownie
Oh.
combination type
Yes.
cake.
I'm gonna show it to you on the camera.
Yeah. So it should, in theory, you should be able to taste some familiar chocolate chip cookie taste aspects, but you should also be able to really be hit by the fudge kind of brownie aspect.
I
as
love chocolate, man. I love
well.
chocolate.
Yeah,
Here we
that
go.
looks good.
Only thing I'm worried about is that I can't do a bag test, which is my normal thing.
Yeah, no bag test for this one. So he's going to take a bite, and again, the key with this is if it marries the chocolate chip cookie flavor to like the brownie cake, then we might have a winner here. If the cookie is completely masked by the brownie chocolate cake aspect, then I'm not as happy about it, because I think it needs to be able to shine. All of those aspects need to be able to shine.
Okay. So
You need a good old cold glass of milk.
I know I should have done that. I don't know if I have any milk in here. All right. So at first, my first initial reaction is, "Wow, this is dry." But as you get into the goods and your second bite down, it actually turns a little moistier. That's
Okay.
not a word.
Moisture. Got
And
it.
you definitely get the mixture, because on the box it has the chocolate chip cookie like in the center of the brownie.
Right.
So you get the ratios pretty well. Now, the brownie obviously surrounds the cookie for the most part, but looking at it, it's kind of it's kind of damn good. I'm not gonna lie. It's actually,
Okay.
I mean, for how unhealthy it is, it should be good. To be honest with you, let's be honest
Well,
here.
yeah.
But looking at it, I mean, this thing is delectable, man. Like, I mean, honestly, because if you look at it on the camera, if I can, I mean,
Yeah.
you can see it. It's like it's a
So the
pretty
cookie
good
does
ratio.
reach down into the center. So I like that. Okay, so it does
It's
dip
a good
down.
ratio. Yeah. So honestly, looking at it, I can never go wrong with Entenmann's. I mean, some things are like, but I mean, the zingers, the honey bun things. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
the mini Chips Ahoy, or mini not Chips Ahoy, the mini chocolate chip cookies. Like Entenmann's, he did it right. Entenmann did
Yeah.
it right. Mr. Entenmann did it right. And honestly, these have to be put up there in our snacks taste test. Now, Are they going to be up there with, again, fudge rounds and the chocolate covered donuts and all that kind of stuff?
Right.
I don't know if it's going to be that high.
But it sounds like it's pretty decent. What are you thinking score wise out of 5?
Score wise, out of 5, I'd have to give it a solid 4. Honestly,
Wow.
solid 4. It's not going to be a 4.5 or like ooh man, this thing is making me want to take my clothes off. But it's definitely
Can't all
one
be
of
like that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those where it's like, man, I really need a sweet treat, and this thing is going to do the dance with me. So
You need a nice cold glass of milk with that. Imagine if you dip that in the milk a little
yeah,
bit.
if I had milk right now, man, my clothes would be off.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we got to do a shirtless show one day where we just eat snacks and then just be shirtless.
I mean, Bert Kreischer over
The
here.
people listening are like, we don't eat that. Okay, so those are our 2 snacks we brought to the table today. You have a winner. I have a dud. Definitely don't buy the Poppables, but buy those Entenmann's. What is the official name on it?
Entenmann's mini brownie chocolate chip cakes.
Mini brownie chocolate chip cakes. I mean, with a name like that, it better be
I
good
mean,
like that.
you see it on the box. You know what I'm talking about.
You know what you're getting there. We're going to skip over the final lap tonight. Not a whole lot to talk about. And let's just move into trivia before we hit up the money line as we enter Mike's Trivia Cafe.
We're gonna have to get. I said we're gonna have to get.
We're gonna have to get it.
We're gonna have to get back into your questions for me for
Oh yeah.
Detroit
Oh
sports
yeah.
trivia.
I will, and I may even just bring in some of those dozen questions.
Sure.
For I did buy for those-
Random trivia.
yeah, for those Barstool fans out there, I bought the dozen trivia card game, so I've got a lot of those questions. But there's sports categories for sure, so I'll probably ask those. But there's like movies, TV, food, stuff like
Right.
that as well.
Yeah, that would be fun to do that as well. So here we go. The DC sports trivia question of the week. A 2015 Forbes magazine report listed the Redskins as the 3rd most valuable franchise in the NFL. What 2 teams surpassed them in the most valuable rankings?
Okay, most valuable franchises in the NFL.
Think
Well, I
of the
gotta
year.
think. Which
2015.
Okay. I mean, I feel like the franchise that's always going to be in the conversation for value is probably the Cowboys. So I'd probably put Dallas in the top 2.
That is
That's
one.
one of them. Now, the other one is an interesting question.
Very.
I'm just trying to rack my brain here. I don't.
Take your shirt off. It'll help you.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think it's going to be one of the California teams. I just don't. My initial thought is that's not going to be the case. My guess is it may be East Coast.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
I would love to be in your brain right now, just trying to figure out what you're thinking of.
Yeah, sorry. I won't drag this out. I'm thinking it might be. Honestly, I think it might be the Giants. I feel like the Giants, just because of the fact that they're in New York, might have a ton of value there. Because I'm trying to think of any other possible guess. I mean, the Patriots, obviously, like that's probably top 10. But I think I'm just gonna go with the Giants, New York Giants.
The correct answer is
Oh no, I'm wrong.
the New England Patriots.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking that. I mean, the Giants have to be up there too, though. I gotta think.
I'm
like
sure they
they're-
are. Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Damn. Yeah. Okay. All right. I got one of two. I'll take it.
Mainly because
I love those lists.
Because if you think about it, you go back to 2015. That's when Tom Brady was. I mean, it was the height.
that was the clue. That was the
Yeah.
key. I should have focused on the year a little bit more. No, that
Right.
was a good question. I love those types of lists of like most valuable sports franchises in the world and things like that.
Right.
It's like most of the lists, it's soccer teams, at the top, and then like you sprinkle in some of the other.
Oh yeah, you got. I think in that same list, if I'm not mistaken, if I recall correctly, you had Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Oh,
were,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
2 of the top 5. Then obviously you had the Cowboys, Redskins, Patriots, and then I think Yankees were up there as
Yeah.
well. So yeah, you had those teams that were up there that were pretty much the givens. But the Patriots, it's like I said, the year
That's a sneaky
was
one. That's
the
a
year
sneaky one.
exactly. That's why I asked it because the year was the clue. But at the same time, you think about it, and you're like, the Patriots. The Patriots don't even play in Boston. Number one. Number two, it's like, I mean, what else they got going for them? I mean, it's not like
Foxborough.
Yeah,
It's like-
I mean, you think that the Celtics have a more of a presence in, I guess you could say, money standards than the Patriots do. But
I guess because the Patriots, you get the New England area being so weird. It's like
True.
you have some of these states that don't have pro teams in football, and so
Yeah,
they kind
right.
of adopt the Patriots, Connecticut, and things like that. Like so I think that might be part of it as well. Let's finish off this week with the money line, sponsored by DraftKings. No new read this week, but we'll be doing a read next week for Super Bowl Sunday which is in a week from this Sunday. So we got a little time there. We'll give you all the promos heading into that. So look out for next week. But yeah, so we'll just go right into it, the money line. My picks of the week, my lock. I like the Eagles here. I like the Eagles. They were my Super Bowl pick. As much as crap that we gave them earlier in the show and their easy path,
right.
I still have them winning. -2. I think that's fine for a line for me. Like I think I could easily see them winning by, even if it's just a field goal. I like the Eagles -2. They're going to be my Super Bowl pick this year. My dog. I was looking at the anytime touchdown. A.J. Brown, I feel like in the Super Bowl, you always get these weird moments where like a guy you didn't necessarily expect has a big play. And I'm not no disrespect to A.J. Brown. Obviously, he's been around a while. He's a great player. He had 11 touchdowns this year. But I just feel like out of all the guys that you would possibly put an anytime TD bet, he's not up there. Obviously, it's plus money. So I like A.J. Brown, the old fella, catching a touchdown here in this one. Anytime TD for him, plus 110 are the odds there currently on DraftKings.
Honestly, when you're looking at it, I think that plus 110 is pretty solid because that's one of the guys that gets targeted in the red zone and also can make a big play, but also you're looking at, you're not going to get plus money with Miles Sanders. You're not going to get plus money with Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
You're not going to get plus money with those type of guys. I think you should obviously look at Pacheco. Pacheco might have
I looked at that too.
There.
It was. I think Pacheco is also around plus 110. So I was
Right.
looking at him, and AJ Brown went with AJ Brown. But I agree, for those listening at home, if you want anytime touchdown with plus money, I think Pacheco or Brown would be the two possible options.
Might need to throw Pacheco in my big $200 Super Bowl thing and Super Bowl parlay like me and my buddy do. All right. So my picks of the week, I like this lock.
Like
the
this
lock,
lock?
Devontae Smith, 6+ catches. Don't have the exact number right now, but last week I think 6+ catches gave him, I think it was plus 110 or something like that nature. Devontae Smith, besides this past week, he's had 6 or more in 4 of his last 5 games. So I think Devontae Smith, if A.J. Brown goes out there, maybe gets 2 or 3 catches with your touchdown, I think Devontae Smith is going to be trying to get a lot more in routes and also go routes and different things of that nature, and also getting the lesser of the 2 cornerbacks for the Kansas City Chiefs. And my dog, I'm going with the Chiefs money line. I mean, honestly, I don't think the Chiefs really looked great, but I think these 2 weeks are going to give Pat Mahomes the opportunity to rest. I think this whole entire week he's probably just going to get treatment and rest, look at film of the Eagles, and then next week's going to be his hard practice week because, honestly, you're looking at 2 weeks of prep time. I think the Chiefs prep very well because Andy Reid's a boss. Nick Sirianni, sure. Okay, he goes out there and he beats a lackluster Giants team, and he also just dismantles.
Kind of tired of Nick Sirianni.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean a 7th string Minnesota Fleet or whatever the hell Josh Johnson was on. He beats those teams, but when you have to come up against the AFC Championship continuation appearances of the Kansas City Chiefs, and now in the 3rd Super Bowl in just as many years for the Chiefs, I think they got a really good shot. So Chiefs money line for me.
I like that. I think I could totally see the Chiefs winning too, obviously. But like with Sirianni, like when that whole scuffle happened towards the end of the game and Trent Williams shoved down the guy, and like there was that thing. Sirianni like walks back to the sideline. He's like going like this to the fans.
Oh, I saw that too. I was like, what the?
It's like, what are you doing, man? You like show a little like, hey, we still have a big game to go here. We've won this one. We're gonna go try to win a Super Bowl. Like, these guys are. You should be pissed that your guys are getting in scraps at the end of the game where it's like, hey, we can't get any suspensions here, guys. Like the Super Bowl's coming up.
Right.
Like don't nobody do something stupid, and he's just waving his arms at the crowd. It's like, come on, man, what are you doing? This isn't like
Yeah.
a high school basketball game.
I just feel like I feel like he is now. I don't know exactly how old he is. He has to be probably in his 40s, something like that. But
Yeah,
I feel like he's like a Sean McVay without the class. I think
Yeah,
Sean McVay,
white trash McVay, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
Well, yeah.
41. He's 41.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. So I think McVay got his first job. I think McVay might be 40 this year or something like that. But you're looking at it just saying, Sean McVay, when he got hired, he was well respected in the offensive field and all that kind of stuff. And I just think that honestly, McVay doesn't get any trouble or anything like that. But also, he's very fiery, but he's fiery for his own team. Like, he's not fiery to like, oh yeah, let me get the crowd riled up because we're up 31-7, and it's like, who cares, dude? Like show that you are the leader. Like now, Ron Rivera, I don't think he might still be on the field in that statue pose that he still has.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah, we don't want that. Like the way he is. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't see. I mean, even though we don't like that, we still don't see him sitting there looking at like Billy and Joe in the stands that are wasted out of their mind, flicking the bird to Trent
Yeah.
Williams, and then all of a sudden like him sitting there like, yeah guys, come on, look here. Like, dude, you're trying to fire him up. Just wait. Watch you go out there and have a losing season. Then they're all of a sudden they're going to get Duracells and just start chucking them at you and spit on you. And all that
It's
stuff.
so unnecessary. It's
you're trying to seem cool, but it really.
I know what
was,
you're saying.
Honestly, let's be
I know what
honest.
you're saying. It's like I'd rather have a steady. In the NFL in particular, it's like, okay, yeah, for like some other sports and basketball and things like that, like having a coach that's getting hyped up, like, all right, I don't mind that as much. In the NFL, it's kind of like you don't really need that. Like you don't really need. I mean, think about some of the best coaches in the league. It's like, really the only guy that can kind of be a clown sometimes like that, and it works, is Pete Carroll when the Seahawks were doing good. Like
True,
Pete Carroll
true,
pumps up his guys, but the Belichicks, the Reeds, like these guys. Well, first of all, if Reed tried to throw his arms up like that, he would have a heart attack. But I mean, most of the successful coaches in this league, like you don't see them doing that kind of clown stuff. Like it's like this isn't college football or anything like that. This is the NFL. I mean, look, is it that big of a deal? No, I'm not going to like make a federal case out of it, but it just annoyed me. It just annoyed me.
Yeah, I honestly, I saw the exact same thing you're talking about. It's like you see Dan Campbell for your Lions go out there, and yeah, that guy's fiery and stuff like that. But Detroit sucks. Like Detroit
Right.
always has sucked. He's trying to build and inject some life.
And
into
he's not
this
doing that
team.
to the fans either. He's
Yeah.
pumping up his own guys.
Yeah.
The coach is pumping up their own guys on the sideline. It's like, yeah, that's fine with me, honestly, for the most part. It's like, if you need to get that energy injected in your team and that might help you win, it's like, yeah, I get that. But to go to the fan, like Dan Campbell, he doesn't do that. He doesn't go to the
Right,
fans and like go like this and can you smell what the Rock is cooking? Like he doesn't do that stuff. That's the clown stuff, bro.
Well, you also
Bryce
know-
Harper, that's clown stuff, bro.
Yeah. So what's funny is it's a clown stuff, bro. The funny thing is you see like Harbaugh as well, Jim, not John. Jim is sitting there and he's smacking Alex Smith and Kaepernick and all these guys like smacking their head and all this kind of like trying to get them pumped up and trying to like tell them to get in the game and all this kind of stuff. But he's sitting there again. That's fiery with your team.
Yeah,
That's not fiery
right.
trying to rile up a crowd after a miniature brawl. And then all of a
That your
sudden,
team doesn't need to be involved in.
exactly. And then the sole fact that you sit there and say Trent Williams, because he's ejected, he's walking off the field. Now, I'm shocked I didn't see anything. But if you sit there and all of a sudden, like, you get the crowd riled up, they're all drunk and all this kind of stuff, like on a frenzy, then all of a sudden you see this guy get like I said, a Budweiser bottle or something like that and just chuck
it at Trent
from,
Williams, yeah.
from 30 yards away and, like, connect. Like, come on now. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that, but whatever. I'm still
Triggered.
Still my Super
We're
Bowl
triggered.
pick. Yeah, I know. We're just piling on Philly tonight. Besides that, people, check out everything on social media at the DC Crossover, at Cerrone16, and on TikTok, the DC Crossover Podcast, as well as the YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe we'll be announcing some new partnerships in the near future. We'll see. We'll keep you
Touche.
posted on that.
Go
Besides
check
that,
out John Z, by the way, too.
John
John
Z.
Z. New studio.
yeah, we're gonna have him on the show this summer. That is a guarantee.
You know
We're
what we
gonna
should do?
have John
Is
Z
we should
this summer.
we should have our shirts off when he comes on.
That's an idea. That's an idea right there. That's why you're the ideas guy. DC Crossover, episode 141. We'll see you next time.
And I've seen it burn. She flew the bears and every return. Hurts Trubisky fields too. Now he doesn't know what to do.